Fantastic. Well, welcome to the First Friday Entrepreneurship Call with K-State Extension. The purpose of this call is to increase the local community's knowledge of the experts, the education, and the economic resources available to help small businesses and the communities who love them. As always, the call is being recorded, and you'll get a link after the fact. Um, And I just put into the chat the link to the site where it will be located. As after the call today, you'll get a brief survey asking you three brief questions, and I'm going to teach to the test because I want you to be thinking about these things. Did you learn something today that you can use immediately? How many people will you forward this information to? Often we're not the right person, but somebody else needs to know this. And then what did you learn today that was most helpful to you? And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our two speakers, Kyle Johnson and Monique Mercurio. And they are going to talk, they are with Douglas County Core, and they're going to help us to know how to create an entrepreneur ecosystem.
Thanks a lot, Nancy. Appreciate everybody's time. I'll share my screen here, and then Monique and I can at least tell you how we're doing it in Lawrence and Douglas County. There's certainly no one way um, to manage the chaos that is trying to help a lot of different kinds of entrepreneurs, but that's our mission. Let me put this in full screen mode. I don't know if does everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. And I'm gonna try to like figure out how to move the little Zoom guy out of my way here. Okay, well, I'm not gonna succeed, so I'm just gonna leave it alone. Um, so maybe just quick intros from Monique and I. Monique, do you want to go first?
Sure. My name is Monique Mercurio. I am from the Ohlone, Coastal, and Esalen Nation. I am originally a West Coast person, but I'm here in Kansas and have been for the past 5.5 years. And I am a grassroots and artist. And I
Thanks,
work.
Monique.
That'll come along with the rest of our introduction and story.
That's right. And I'm a tech entrepreneur by background. I'm from Wichita, live in Lawrence, came up to go to KU, but and still live in Lawrence. But K-State actually was a bunch of entrepreneurs. So we have kind of a unique perspective on ecosystem building because almost all of this brain power is, from real world entrepreneurial experience, but a variety of backgrounds. So with me, Monique and I kind of tag teaming here on the leadership level, we have like a very complementary skill set. You know, me from the tech world and Monique from a community kind of organizing world, I think those are very complementary and have kind of informed how we've gone about this. So I'll just kind of give everybody, the 5 to 8 minute overview, and Monique stop me if, you along the way. But the problem we face in Douglas County is we're not so great at growing our economy. This is us compared to the nation and us compared to our peers, peer communities, which are basically college towns and communities within 100 miles of a major metro area across the nation. We're dead last in job creation. And when that happens, property taxes outpace income growth and city and county budgets fall, and that leads to falling incomes and health and wellness outcomes. So it's bad. If you don't grow your economy, bad things happen. And it certainly hits the lowest income folks the hardest, but higher income folks feel it as well. And there's just perpetual debates about how do we spend our money in the community. And so better to grow the pie than to relentlessly argue about where to cut. So we can fix this in two ways. We can either recruit expanding businesses or we can grow from within. What we found in Douglas County is recruitment's hard because we don't just have a large population of highly trained but unemployed people. And we also lack housing inventory. So just moving 500 people here isn't going to work either. Where are they going to live? Much more economically viable for us to grow from within, but that requires significant support. And according to the Kauffman Foundation, nearly all net new jobs come from relatively young companies. So help entrepreneurs create new companies, create jobs, and grow the economy. So in order to do that, we need a comprehensive approach that helps entrepreneurs get started, see the journey ahead of them, and then make progress through predictable stages and measure that progress. So for us, that means all industries. So our economy is diversified, all stages. So we're simultaneously growing the pipeline while maximizing outcomes from the later stage folks and all demographics. So we're not leaving anybody out of this system. New entrepreneurs need basic training, programs, a mentor community, and a peer community. So we think of this in two ways. Basically, local could be anything from arts and wellness to maybe a local. Yeah, go ahead, Monique. Yeah. Monique should talk to this.
I mean, go ahead. You're on. I was just helping food and yeah, local things that you might not consider like services, wellness services, alternative wellness services, um, home repair, auto repair, super everyday things that we need, but we automatically think big dollar places. So that's what it means by the local side. And then the tech side.
Yeah, tech side is, you may think of an app, but it could be could be drone or biotech or ag tech or fintech. There's a lot of different verticals within tech. It's not just like I got an idea for an app. So, K-State and KU and Wichita State and our other regions institutions have a lot of research going on that's also commercializable in hard sciences and other kinds of fields. So the recipe here, though, Monique, if you want to talk about roundtables and markets and things, I think it's important to hit on those.
Yeah, so I hold a biweekly roundtable, and that is a space where entrepreneurs can come and network. Not only network, we provide mentor. Um, you'll see 120 paid mentor hours on there. We have peer mentors come in, people with lived experience, people who are, running that side hustle. One of our entrepreneurs is, has a full-time job, but she is running a dessert and bakery business. And she has, with our help, gone all the way to the top to get her business license, get certified, and get all the things that she needs to do so she can put her products in store now. So she has become one of our mentors and is able to help guide other food entrepreneurs through those steps in the best ways possible without wasting time, energy, resources. So that's what our roundtable does. It also brings in a lot of opportunity for bartering services and goods with each other. And that's just the roundtables, the cohorts, the mini grants, the inclusive markets, the black and brown markets. Those things are essential to put all of the work that we put into those biweekly roundtables into play. We offer several low barrier markets that have high foot traffic and center our very diverse community and entrepreneurs.
It also creates a lot of relationships and allows to better understand everybody and kind of, frankly, I think I think those relationships and then inviting them into helping form this plan has been essential so that the plan is entrepreneur led as opposed to, well, we're just saying this is what is going to happen and it just doesn't fit for some reason. So like talking to the customer, in this case the entrepreneurs are a customer, but that would be like lesson number one for any entrepreneur: talk to the customer first. And in this case the entrepreneurs are the customer. On the tech side, we have kind of a parallel thing. Not only do we, of course, also adopt the roundtable model, but tech entrepreneurs need to follow a very specific step-by-step process. If they don't, it's going to cost a lot more time and money to get to where they need to be, and they'll probably die. The company will die if they don't follow a pretty structured process. So the pre-accelerator gets them started. And then, we have pitch competitions, hackathons, proof of concept investments, and so on and so forth. Here's what that looks like on a calendar. Now, this is our 2026 calendar. We have been very much a startup ourselves over the last several years. And we've experimented with a bunch of programming, and we figured out that, okay, now we think we have a recipe that we want to run with in 2026 based on all of those kind of experimental things. We also need a downtown incubator that is a hybrid food kitchen, experimental retail space, co-working, and kind of incubator, so that we can test new things, iterate, and kind of scale and spin out successful concepts. So we've been doing all of these things and have experience, running these successful events, but this stuff costs money. And again, K-State 105 was a primary backer of this work. And so we're very grateful. That allowed us to experiment and figure out what do we need to do next. So now we need to raise more and fund this work. So how are we going to do that? We need a venture fund that kind of combines nonprofit support with investment and makes proof of concept stage investments in tech startups. So 20K is the minimum contribution. 10 of that goes into core to support the programming, which creates the funding pipeline. And then 10 of that goes into the fund. So there's two entities, a wholly owned subsidiary of Core called Core Ventures. We just approved this week and have had one call with investors, and it's gone well, and we probably have our first investor. So we just need to go have that same call a whole bunch of times and get 60 folks in over the next 12 to 15 months. So then that will allow us to make 20 investments per year by 2028, but we'll start making those investments in 2026. So you can only get investment if you've gone through the pre-accelerator. Pre-accelerator is free and statewide and for idea stage tech startups. So I've got an idea, but I don't know what to do next. Great, come over here, not physically here, you can join via Zoom. We'll have 2 cohorts of this a year. And that'll help you talk to customers, create a pitch deck, pitch video, and basically product designs, and make this make this money available to you. But not everybody's going to get the money. So what this looks like is, if we start with maybe 60 companies going through the pre-accelerator, maybe 20 get investment, 10 raise pre-seed rounds and seed and series A and B and so forth. And out of 20 companies, we expect 1 exit. And that ends up paying for everything. Basically solid ROI for the investors, but then of this chunk, Core's end would be about $1 million. So it'll take 7 to 12 years for this flywheel to fully come around. But once it does, now it's paying for everything. And in the meantime, experienced entrepreneurs need basically industry, stage, and gap related help. So they need to take this personal assessment, and then there's basically a paid mentor model so that they can get weekly or monthly check-ins with a wide variety of folks in a mentor network. Now, if we go and we run this whole thing for 15 years, we think we can fix our economy. It won't happen, overnight, but we need to now track our progress year over year, event by event, and basically grow the economy kind of from the ground up. So now we have a community advisory board that meets quarterly to kind of make sure that we keep on the track and, operate this successfully and continually iterate. But yeah, if we do this year after year, this will create a scalable, sustainable, profitable entrepreneurial ecosystem. So it kind of feeds itself. Monique, you want to add anything else to that overview?
No, I think you got it.
All right. Well, we'd love to have a conversation or questions about it. Again, we could go down every rabbit trail imaginable and find ourselves in a hole really quick. But again, thank you to K-State, for your support. We couldn't have done this without you.
That I think the beginning of that, where you explain the relationship of why we should all care about that, was so compelling. I don't know how why can't and I'll bet all of us had the same thought. If Lawrence, Kansas is 20th out of 20th, what does that mean for the rest of Kansas?
Oy, it's rough.
Uh-huh.
You're actually
Yeah.
better than us, turns out. Your economy in Manhattan anyway. Your economy is a little bit more diversified than Lawrence's. But nobody's crushing it. Kansas is behind. So it's our feeling like we're happy to help other communities in Kansas implement this model. We don't
Uh-huh.
we don't want to win Kansas. We want to see Kansas win the Midwest, if you will. Like let's figure this out together. So yeah, everybody should care.
I just became aware that we have somebody who's not from Kansas. Do you have participants in your group that join you from other states, or do you welcome that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
We hope to go
No
national
caller.
someday. I think it's also important to recognize that everything that Kyle has built, with the slideshow and helped us have much better solid footing as far as finding funding, making sure everything makes sense on that side. On my side of it, as far as my grassroots work, I've been working here in Lawrence, like I said, for the past 5.5 years. And the way that I relationship build, the way that I weave community spaces together really speaks volumes to my culture. To me, ceremony or community is ceremony. Having the honor of being a part of a community is, something I don't take for granted, especially with being a military spouse. I don't get to stay places very long. So the programs that I'm running, the workshops that I run, the peer-to-peer mentor network that we're growing really speaks volumes on how to communicate with these spaces in a more authentic, reciprocal way versus a systematic, programmy way. And I think that that has made a really big difference in getting the folks centered that need to be centered.
Yeah. I the we are starting to get questions and comments here, but I have to say, Monique, that the first time I heard you talk about this, and I could relate so strongly with it. I just told you I love when I travel collecting art and jewelry and things that remind me of where I've been. And the first time I've heard you talk, you mentioned that it's hard for somebody just starting out to feel like a real entrepreneur and not a hobbyist, to feel like they actually belong in the space. And I think that's such an important perspective. We all feel that imposter role.
Definitely. And I think maybe what a lot of people don't understand too is that people from cultural backgrounds are struggling with the idea of how can I be an entrepreneur and not sell out my culture? Like there are
Mhm.
many things that I make as a Native person that I would never dream of selling to the general public, but that doesn't mean that there are ways that I can still honor, who I am, where I come from, and share that, with community. So helping people of color learn how to navigate in a system that was not created for them has been one of the most humbling experiences that has validated, the things I've experienced and the things that I, can share now. And that in itself has been, a detrimental impact on a lot of folks.
Right. So what role have the other resource partners like Network Kansas, what role have they played with you?
Great question. Go ahead, Monique. I was
I
just
was
going to
gonna
share our new website that's coming out.
Yeah, I would say our first engagement with them is I recently asked them for a sponsorship, and they gave us a small font sponsorship to um, go towards this event. This is my winter inclusive market. This is an event this will be my third year. I created this event to center folks that might not be able to afford bigger vending spaces, people who might have reasons, that they just can't get into spaces. So this event, it is a free event. I vet everybody that comes in. Everything is handmade or created. I don't allow pyramid businesses or Temu third sale businesses. So looking for ways to have sponsorship for programs like this is really important. An additional bonus to this year's event is that I went to the city and I asked if we could host one of their very notarizable awards. It's a 20-year-old award that recognizes local artists and activists. And this event has been kind of fallen to the wayside to, the crowd who first started it, and it's kind of gotten forgotten about by the younger generations that are coming up. So I wanted to center it in community again in a way that more folks can get involved and support this really incredible award ceremony. So that's how I'm trying to really bring things together and bring new partners in to support these initiatives.
Fantastic. I hope you all are opening up your chat. Monique has shared their winter inclusive market for December the 13th and 14th, I think it is. Yeah, 13th and 14th in Lawrence at the Lead Center. Boy, what a beautiful place to have it.
Let me just add to the kind of ecosystem conversation, if you don't mind. So our goal is to help entrepreneurs also understand all the other players out there. Not only do we want to work with all the players out there, but to also help the entrepreneurs understand who else is out there. We don't want to be the only, like a gatekeeper, like, hey, go talk to all these people, all these other entities yourselves, figure out what they might have for you. Go talk to Grow Kansas and Network Kansas. And, so if there's a program, now we don't want to recreate Network Kansas's resource finder. But at the same time, the things, at least in Douglas County at this time, the things that the people in our community should know about, we're putting them on our website. We've got a new website coming out, so I tried to share it there, but it's not updated. So we are working with Network Kansas. They funded our first pre-accelerator cohort. And we know Eric and Trish at Grow Kansas well, and we'll continue to work with them. I think they're coming to our community advisory board meeting on Monday. So there is definitely, if there's an interest on anybody's part here to work together, let us know. We are open for business and partnerships. So I think, yeah.
Mike has a question about the ability to template small company startups. Would this program apply for small firms like accountants, attorneys, insurance agencies, or auto repair or trades?
I think we start at a much smaller, even smaller than that. I think that this can be scaled to micro businesses and larger businesses, like Mike's mentioning.
Yeah, and on this new website, which will probably launch Monday, but will continue to be a work in progress for another month or two. There's basically a couple of different pathways. Are you a new non-tech entrepreneur? Are you a new tech entrepreneur? Or are you an experienced entrepreneur? So depending on what kind of entrepreneur you are and where you're at, we're recommending different kinds of things. For instance, like the one-on-one support model. If you are further down the road, then maybe what you need is like one-on-one support, and maybe it's monthly, maybe it's weekly. And we'll have basically a mentor model that you can go and find the right mentors for you based on, well, I need marketing help. Great. Go
Mm,
filter by marketing people. And then let's book a call with that person. Again, these are all placeholders. We actually have to fill this up with content, and this will be chock full in 2 months. But yeah, that's the hard thing about entrepreneurship support. Nobody needs the same thing. What drives your particular needs are you new or seasoned? And what industry are you in? What stage? And what are your specific gaps? And so there's this survey then that we are tying to that website. Oh, where to go? That basically, oh, I won't go through it. It allows you to select your stage, industry, and gaps. And then now we know what you need. And now we can find the right mentors for you and the right programs for you. But without understanding your stage, industry, and gaps, we're gonna miss.
right. Wow, that's really helpful. Um, I'm going to add to Simone's question. Her question is, how often do you see entrepreneurs engage in the bartering and service economy issues? And I would say add to that, and how do you encourage that or enable those transactions to take place?
So they really kind of started happening in the roundtables. When you remove the idea of competition between entrepreneurs and you um, remove the segregated feeling of needing to outdo everybody else, it really allows people to relax and look around the room and look at people as help instead of um, an opponent. So I would say breaking those barriers down, having conversations of what authentic reciprocity and community relationships was the foundation of this bartering network I created. It happens so naturally now, all of the time, that I'm constantly getting new people in this space to share. And what's happening is if I have a massage therapist who is going to school full time, works full time, is really trying to push her yoga and massage hustle. She is a Black Indigenous person, so she has a lot of, wonderful gifts to give, but money's tight. The world is hard. So it's difficult to find finances to put into social media, to put into marketing. So she has offered her services to one of our PR people who does all the public relations, social media, ghostwriting, uh, clips, and all kinds of things like that. So that's just one of 100 different kinds of things that are being traded so that entrepreneurs can get a leg up in ways that, might have costed them a good penny, or, sometimes you even have to get into programs to even find this information or find access to those people. So I hope that answered the question that the bartering and service economy is lively and well constantly.
Yeah.
And we've seen
That,
it on the tech side as well, in terms of like design and development and marketing services. And so yeah, it exists in at all steps and in all stages. Basically, you need that's again another hard thing about being an entrepreneur is you have to know so much about so much, and you just can't know it all.
Yeah. And I think, I've worked really hard with, the entrepreneurs, the group that I came in with before to create such a trusted space. And I think having a group of folks that have, been working with me for such a long time coming into this wider nonprofit space has allowed other people to come in feeling a lot more confident that, we're not a performative space. This isn't a, one-time program thing. This is a very consistent, sustainable space that I will cultivate as long as I'm able to.
Monique, you made the comment that you've been doing this for a long time, and the truth of the matter is, though, everyone starts someplace. And so when you started, you didn't have those relationships, but we have to remember that even Monique started, and that's the hard part. Yeah.
Thank you, Simone. I appreciate that acknowledgement. That is the most important thing to me. And I think too, being a queer Indigenous entrepreneur, I've faced, several spaces where it didn't feel authentic. I wasn't sure how I needed to show up or if I could show up. Sometimes as entrepreneurs, we can be in our own head and in our worst critics. So having a space that I created that I try to remove those barriers and those feelings for other people because also being neurodivergent, I know it's extremely difficult for people to take charge of their own entrepreneurship journey. Sometimes they feel like they need permission, and that's just not the case. We just need to empower them.
For sure. We started out this conversation with the fact that Kyle said, we just really need the affirmation that we're thinking correctly. We all need that validation and how important that is to everyone, even these extremely competent people in front of us.
Yeah. So I mean, I think to that end, it's really important to then, I guess, in our next step here, to build out this extensive mentor network that has all kinds of people with all kinds of skills so that no matter if you're a big or small business, or no matter what kind of industry or what kind of skill you need, like there's multiple people there who can help.
Hmm.
Because certainly Kyle and Monique can't be the end all be all. We need to kind of create this platform and open it to everybody. But then make sure that everybody kind of finds their people and the right mentors and the right connections through this vehicle.
And I would say too, just, simply creating that space. We've watched our entrepreneurs go from, doing their weekend side hustle to creating nonprofits, to creating spaces that help people from their communities. And they, it's really a neat way to watch the web of what we're doing expand into wider places. It's kind of beautiful. So I'm really excited.
It's working.
We're doing something right, and it's
Yeah.
it's it's empowering the people, honestly.
Yeah.
The part that I'm always surprised about, it's not hard to believe that in Lawrence you don't know each other and know how to find each other. The part that I'm always surprised about is in small communities we don't know each other either. We think that we do, but we know the
Mm-hmm.
same people over and
Right.
over. And we don't go into those new places to find out who else is there and what skills do they have and what needs do they have. I'm just constantly, you reiterate that people want to make a difference. And when they see somebody that has a need and you can fill it, that fills a gap for you, that fills a need for you as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time, the need is a space to connect, a space to be seen. There aren't really many programs out there that address entrepreneurial mental well-being and the emotional struggles that we face in this very lonely journey. So addressing that, creating programs to support that has empowered our entrepreneurs beyond, their own expectations. So I think that's another important element that I think I do that just kind of innately, but that's something that needs to be spoken to as well.
Fantastic. So I'd love it if people would open up their mics and talk about their own experiences and their work. Have what do you see here that's helpful to you, or what could you add to the conversation that might be helpful to Douglas County Core?
Hi, Nancy. I'll pop
Hey.
in here. So, one thing I really appreciate about hearing this conversation, I've had the pleasure of working with Monique and Kyle in the past on where they're at, and they mentioned that they also view themselves as almost like a mini startup. And so, a couple things. Um, just like other people on this call, they have been agile and responsive, and they have listened to what the needs are. And then I just want to just hammer home a lot about that ecosystem building. Like it's not a competition, it's getting out there. And that's the beauty about what we get to do is like that one connection goes here, here, and here, and it becomes like a pinball. And we're all, in there trying to play that same game. So that's one thing that I keep hearing real consistent about Kyle and Monique is their willingness to ecosystem support. So I just wanted to say thank you to the work that you guys are doing and for being willing to put out there what you're up to and make deeper connections across the state.
Thanks, Jessica.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. In fact, I would even say that not only are we willing to connect and partner across the state, we would like you to compete with us. Be better everywhere so that we have to be better at the same time. So I want to see that because I think, you know, what seems to have happened, and I'll be candid. I have a hard time. Sometimes I'm too candid. We kind of got a little stagnant here. We didn't change. We didn't adapt quick enough. So that's why we are where we are now. We want to see ourselves adapt more, and to the extent we can help others or encourage that adaptation elsewhere, we'd like to see it. So if there's anything that we can do to help other communities, implement new programs or form new partnerships, we're all for it. It will also help light a fire under us over here to make sure that we just move faster. So it's the right thing to do. I think it's also the smart thing to do.
Mhm. I think we definitely see a lot of that too within our entrepreneurial ecosystem that we build with the entrepreneurs we work with directly is that, instead of being competition, they're challenging each other, they're raising the bar on each other. It turns into healthy competition where they're lifting each other up or turning around and grabbing someone to pull them along with them in those spaces. So having our entrepreneurs step outside of their comfort zones absolutely makes me want to run outside of mine so that I can make sure that I'm prepared for whatever they may need.
Yeah, very good.
Hi, Nancy. This is
Hi,
Rhonda.
Rhonda.
This is Rhonda Rice from Harrington. We have a rural champion this past year, and one of our goals is to build entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship support. So this is really good information for us. We're working kind of at ground zero. We don't really have anything. And so looking at your program, I'm thinking maybe we need to approach it at a county level.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Dickinson County EDC and Community Foundation of Dickinson County as support for us. And, when we're a small town of 2,000 and we're trying to rebuild our economy, entrepreneurship is extremely important. So this is really good information for us to build a community of entrepreneurs.
So, Rhonda, as you finish your Real Champion, you'll have a little fund to set aside. Um, and, a great place to start would be to sponsor some people to join CORE so they get this mentoring. It's a lot easier to pay for somebody to join and get the mentoring than to start it over by yourself.
Yeah, I think that's good. We, like you say, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. It's one of those things where we need to reach out and find these programs and participate.
Mhm.
And I think that's something that definitely we can do. We'll probably get a little bit more energy around it if we go at it from a county level. So,
Right.
To that end, we started as Douglas County Core, and we've stopped talking about it as Douglas County Core. We just call it Core because we don't care where you're at. We want to find any entrepreneur, a mentor or a program or whatever it is that they need to succeed. The pre-accelerator will be available to everybody across Kansas. And you can attend virtually via Zoom. So much as possible now via Zoom, that your location doesn't have to be a barrier to entry. So we'd love to help entrepreneurs no matter where they're at.
Okay.
That's great to hear. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to address a comment that Lisa had made. She said, one thing that I see is a lack of trust, and this appears something noteworthy. Thanks. I think, being who I am and in the lived experience I have, a lack of trust has been the absolute downfall of my success as an entrepreneur. Again, being a military spouse doesn't help because I didn't have the ability to create solid, consistent foundations. But being here, I definitely experienced markets that would reach out to me, and I would be the only native vendor. And then I would see an advertisement for like a native bead artist, and it just felt some kind of way. And I hadn't really been put in those situations until I moved to the Midwest, experienced kind of some tokenization and stuff like that. So that gave me a lack of trust to apply to vending markets. I don't want to feel like that. I don't want my items, to be like pity purchases. It just felt really awful. So that's just one way that I experienced a lack of trust. But first and foremost to me is to establish a human to human connection with an entrepreneur aside from their business. To me, if we don't click, then I can't help you. If you don't trust me, then I can't help you. But I think my reputation precedes me in the kind of spaces that I've created.
And I would say too, in terms of trust at the ecosystem building level, I think a couple of things are probably required in order to work together, kind of far and wide, whether we're talking a couple of organizations locally or organizations statewide. And number one, I think that's an abundance mindset that if we win, we all win, that kind of thing. Like, hey, this isn't a competition. At the end of the day, the mission is help entrepreneurs. So if that happens, we won. Even if somebody else's logo was on that thing that helped them, that's all that matters, is helping entrepreneurs. So if we put the entrepreneur first, we win. And I think so then letting entrepreneurs decide or help instruct our kind of programming model is one way to also put entrepreneurs first. Like, well, let's just make sure that whatever we're doing is valuable and is informed by their lived experiences.
Perfect.
Is there a link that you can put in the chat? So when we've stopped our roundtables for the years because of the inclusive market that's coming up, but we do plan on starting them later in January. Is there a link or somewhere where people can sign up to get notifications for that once it gets started again, that they can submit their email to us?
Oh, are you talking to me, Monique? Sorry, I blanked. Well, currently you can go to our website and you can subscribe there, and that'll get to us. And however, in a week, we're going to have a brand new website. So either way, you can get us your email address either by putting it in the chat and we'll snag it, or you can go to our website and you'll still be able to go to our website in a week when it's refreshed.
It'll still be the same, weare.org.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, there's a link on that you can sign up to get notifications.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Well, if there are no other questions, guys, thanks so much for telling us what you've done. And it's an incredible thing. You had to start, and then you had to have the persistence to keep on going, and that's just what it takes. So we are to the point. Oh, here. Tony wants to know, can you see that question?
I did.
Yeah.
So before I joined CORE, I was working at I was helping a friend with an art gallery, and I have a lot of friends who have kids that have entrepreneurial spirits as well. So the way that I've contributed to um, reaching out, if you come to the inclusive market, you'll see probably about a half a dozen young entrepreneurs. I think the youngest one I have is 6 or 7. Um, but I think the way that I work culturally, we always brought our children in with us when we did community things, when we would practice dancing, singing, crafts, whatever that may be. So for me, it makes sense to create a space for our youth to come in, and our youth are coming from our already, entrepreneurs that we're helping. So getting them ready and getting them in front of people, getting them comfortable with being in that space, then we can then take them to other programs that are in our county that encourage them even more. I know we have the Youth Entrepreneurship Challenge here. That is a really incredible program, and the way that we contribute to it is just getting our youth comfortable with being in front of people, talking to people, practicing a little bit before they age into that kind of program.
And I would add that there's a couple of things that I think communities need to really focus on in order to activate youth into entrepreneurship. Number one, they need to know that it's a thing. So ideally, every school is telling the youth, children, you can be an entrepreneur. What the heck does that mean? Well, that can mean you have a lemonade stand, or it can mean you make software. So understanding the breadth and depth of just what are these different what are the different kinds of entrepreneurship. Then once they know it's a thing, probably some competitions or experiential activities like the Youth Entrepreneurship Challenge and things like that, which I know K-State is a sponsor of, are helpful. Above and beyond that, I would say then it gets into, okay, now if we have somebody who's serious about it, they want to go after it. That's where I think we need, and I'm going to share my screen again really quick here. We need things like 101 training that's taught by entrepreneurs, or the pre-accelerator that's taught by entrepreneurs. So it needs to go like classroom, exposure, experiential projects, being taught and meeting real entrepreneurs, and then okay, well, what's next? Let's commercialize something. Let's sell some lemonade or something. I think if we do those things, now we're hopefully creating entrepreneurs of our residents, and they're a lot less likely to move out of the state if we help them establish roots for their business here. So we have this major brain drain problem because we don't help them establish a business here. We lose our talent, and then we're never going to get it back.
And the best way to encourage that is let them sell popcorn balls at the age of 5. Let them get that bug. So I have a lot of repeat, really young entrepreneurs just because they had no idea what they were capable of, empowering our youth.
Did we miss any other questions? And I hope that helped.
I think so.
Tony, at least I guess that's our take. There's a lot of other opinions out there and other approaches. There's no one way to do anything. I think that's just like entrepreneurship. You just got to try stuff and adapt.
Yeah,
Perfect.
certain things work best for certain people.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, let's go to the announcements then. Thank you, Monique. Thank you, Kyle, for sharing, and that's really helpful. Yes, and the PDF presentation is going to go online at the site that I showed you at the beginning, K-State's First Friday site. It'll be under Economic and Development. So, announcements. This week, or the second Wednesday of the month, Dr. Karen Epley, the director of the Rural Education Center at K-State, will present on the new initiatives and connections on the remote work Wednesday call. We have that once a month on the second Wednesday at noon. Remote Work Wednesday. She's going to present on new initiatives and connections, the implications for remote work and rural communities. Grant workshops. I will be doing online workshops next year, but I haven't scheduled any yet, so that page is empty. However, we have maybe 1 or 2 more days to register if you're close to El Dorado, Kansas. We will be in El Dorado from 9:30 to 3:30 this on December the 10th from 9:30 to 10:30. If you are interested in Kansas Leadership Center training and you don't have access to it, it's excellent leadership training. If you don't have access to that, then be our partner. We have a Kansas Leadership Center transformation grant, and we would be happy to have you as our partner. The first step is to fill out a Qualtrics survey so that we can tell you what the parameters are and what the expectations are on your behalf. But then I'll welcome you into our fold. And if you have a statewide event that you'd like to share, just send it. Or if you want any question answered by anybody in K-State's Community Vitality Program, just share it to us at ksecv@ksu.edu. One last announcement. This is the last call that I will be hosting in 2026. Jessica Nad, our K-State Economic Development Director, will be taking over. And Jessica, is there something you'd like to say?
Well, Nancy, I just wanted to congratulate you for the work you're going to be transitioning into the next few months. And not to say too much, but Nancy, I'm going to try not to cry. When I came back to K-State, going on 3 years ago, you were the first person to reach out to me and welcomed me to the team. And so I just wanted you to know that as a young person and somebody like stepping into really big shoes, it has meant so much to me to have your support over the years. And everybody, if you don't, I know a lot of you know Nancy on this call, but I actually have a inbox labeled Nancy Daniels. So like as I get connection material from Nancy, as I've gotten updates on events, I've kept them all categorized under my favorite Nancy Daniels tab in Outlook. And so I just want to really say that you've created something really special with these First Friday calls. It's a place where people in Kansas, across the state, can meet and connect and make these connections that in some of our wildest dreams, we can't imagine some of the stuff that comes out of these really great calls. So to that, I'm happy to be stepping into these shoes. I will never be able to fill the shoes that you've done for the last 10 years. And so just thank you for giving me the opportunity. And to everybody on the call, we're going to take January off. It falls kind of during that vacation time period for a lot of folks. So be on the lookout for February. And I also wanted to say Jennifer Tidball is our communications director. And she is also going to be a part of the team helping out with just the organization and the communications moving forward. So Nancy and Jennifer, thank you guys so much.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. I'm going to leave with a quote, and this is from a book that I read just in the last few weeks. Frederick Bachman wrote the book My Friends, and in that book, I wrote down this quote: "You can become anything you want in life as long as you don't become a critic, not of other people and not of yourself." Thanks for joining us today, and we'll have these materials out on the website probably early next week. Thanks.